The political squabble over Sardar Patel's legacy between the BJP and the Congress continues. Today, Gujarat's Chief Minister and the BJP's Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi kicked off his pet project, the Statue of Unity, that he promises will be the world's largest such statue. It is, of course, a commemoration to Sardar Patel. He also hit back at the Prime Minister, saying 2 days earlier, when both men shared a stage, that yes, Sardar Patel indeed was secular, but his kind of secularism is the kind of secularism that all parties should follow, one that did not subscribe to vote bank politics. How has Sardar Patel come to be so politically relevant in an election year? Why is he so important to the political imagination of Narendra Modi and before him L.K. Advani? And is it fair to say that the Congress had all but forgotten the Sardar till Narendra Modi resurrected him? With us today, we're looking at this issue through the prism of non-politicians, but two men who have very different perspectives, perhaps. With us in the studio is Professor Rajmohan Gandhi. He's, of course, a well-known historian, grandson of the Mahatma, as well as a biographer of Sardar Patel. He's written an entire book on Sardar Patel's life and times. Also with us in the studio is Swapan Das Gupta, senior journalist, well-known commentator. I'd like to start with you, Professor Rajmohan Gandhi, if I may. You have time and again, in a sense, said that while that Sardar Patel, like everybody else, was not perfect, he was human, he may have had some ideological contradictions, but when you hear him today used by Narendra Modi and before that by the Prime Minister to invoke the principle of secularism, when perhaps it was Sardar Patel's attitude to the RSS, Sardar Patel's attitude to Muslims, for example, that has been hotly debated by historians down the years. What do you make of the fact that today Sardar Patel is being hailed by both parties as a living example of secularism?
Well, everyone would like to use anyone they can for the sake of politics. That's clear. People want to use whatever is available to advance their causes, their political cause or whatever. Sardar Patel's was an amazing life, a very great life. And indeed, I have studied his life, perhaps I may say, as perhaps nobody else in recent years may have done. And I was privileged to write this book. I've understood this man's life. Yes, Sardar Patel was, you might say, Indian nationalism's Hindu face. Jawaharlal Nehru was the secular and the global face. But the two together made a formidable pair. And this is an important thing to recognize, that Patel and Nehru, despite their differences, despite the turbulence in their relationship, managed to work together for 3 full years until Sardar Patel's death. This, to me, is an important point that nobody has brought out in the recent discussions and debates. People seem to think that there was a formidable clash between Nehru and Patel.
There were ideological differences.
There were ideological differences. As I said, they stayed together. It was not, their personalities were also not very compatible, but they did manage to stay together until the very end.
How do you transfer that into today's politics? Because when you say Sardar Patel was, in a sense, the Hindu face of Indian nationalism, then the BJP or Narendra Modi would say, yes, that's correct. You can be Hindu and you can be secular, and you need not be, in a sense, what they would perhaps see as deracinated. That is perhaps how they see the Nehruvian model of secularism. In fact, Narendra Modi said today that Sardar Patel was secular, and yet that did not stop him from building a temple.
So, he did not build a temple. It was absolutely clear that the government of India would pay not a single cent. Sardar
That
Patel,
was the condition on which Mahatma Gandhi gave his approval.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That not a cent of government money would go into that. So Sardar Patel didn't build a temple. It would be wrong to say that. And also the important thing is, not only was Sardar Patel the Hindu face of Indian nationalism, he was absolutely loyal to Jawaharlal Nehru until the day he died. So you can't say, contrast Sardar Patel from Nehru.
So you can't place them on opposite sides of the political trenches. And yet in many ways, Swapan, when we see this argument between the BJP and the Congress, when you see Narendra Modi in that very interesting moment when Manmohan Singh in here sharing a stage, end his speech by saying, if only Sardar Patel were the first Prime Minister. Was that just a little political moment that he couldn't resist? Or should we actually see this as a contemporary argument about two differing visions for India, Sardar Patel's and Jawaharlal Nehru's?
You know, the might have beens in history are many. And, you know, we can talk about counterfactual history and it's impossible to get any conclusive answer to that. I think the real source of this controversy lies in the question, in the nature of what constituted the nature of the Congress I agree with Rajmohan Gandhi totally that there were different approaches to this idea of secularism by Patel and Nehru. But they coexisted under the great banyan tree called the Congress, which embraced within it various strands of opinion. Yeah. You can say Patel was one of them, Subhash Bose was another them, M.N. Roy, I mean, not M.N. Roy, but certain elements of the Marxists, communists were within that, and various other strands.